We love getting your questions, so we want you to keep them coming via Facebook, Twitter, and on our webpage. Who knows, we might just answer your question here in the studio audience next. Today on an all-new Daily Helpline, please give it up for Tom Green.
We're the lucky ones here. We're cancer survivors. Any one of us here in the audience could step out onto Hollywood Boulevard and get hit by a bus after the show. And probably one of you will, actually.
It won't be me. So talk to me about the biggest side effect that you're most worried about.
Is me attempting suicide.
In your mind, is it okay for you to be bisexual? You may remember Thomas as the pregnant man.
A little girl said that he doesn't have a daddy. I felt like I was shot through the heart at that moment.
Welcome to the Daily Helpline. I'm Miles Adcox.
And I'm Spirit. On today's show, we're going to be joined by comedian Tom Green, who had a hit MTV show, was on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, and is currently hosting Tom Green Live on Access TV. Now, several years ago, at the height of his career, Tom was diagnosed with testicular cancer, and today he's here to help a young woman overcome her personal struggles with her own potentially fatal diagnosis. Please give it up for Tom Green.
Welcome, man.
Hey, man.
Good to be here. This is nice.
Oh,
Thanks for having me.
thank you so much for being here. Now, Tom, let me tell you, you are an amazing, phenomenal talent, as you see by the warm welcome that you got.
Thanks,
You
I'll
gotta
take
tell
that.
us.
Yeah, that's cool.
I hear that you have this new show. Can you tell us a little bit about that first and foremost?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. We produce the show out of my studio in beautiful downtown Burbank. It's on Access TV, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a real good place to have a real conversation. We got a lot of time to talk. We take calls on Skype from viewers,
Wow.
and it's been a blast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, what are you doing here, man? Why are you here for this?
Well, you asked me to come, so I'm here. You know, I thought it would be, you know, I like you mentioned in the intro, I went through my battle with cancer. I'm a cancer survivor, and you said you had somebody here today who wanted to have some advice about how to deal with the after effects of that, so I was happy to come and talk to them.
He's being a little modest. Tom also is an author. He wrote an autobiography called Hollywood Causes Cancer, the Tom Green Story. And that is, yeah, serious. So does it really?
Well, you know, there's a few metaphors in that title and a few reasons for that title. But you know, I got diagnosed with cancer right after I moved here, when my show was moved here for MTV, you know, it was an interesting experience, a scary experience, and something that I think when you get past it, you can look back at it and it actually, you know, is sort of a good thing. It makes you stronger. So, yeah.
Now, we invited Tom here today to help with one of our guests. Christy was only 25 years old when she found out she had advanced Hodgkin's lymphoma. Christy's been in remission since April of 2012, and she's in the audience here now. Christy, come up and join us. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for being here.
Hello. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Christy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I know you've been on quite a journey over the last few years.
It's definitely been an interesting ride.
So I know you came here today to talk to us a little bit about your struggle and the effects of cancer and how it's impacted you in your life and how it's continuing to. And so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I would say that my big question is how do you really kind of move on in your day-to-day life without letting the fear of recurrence affect you? It's hard to commit to things. It's hard to plan.
Yeah, you're really, it's very scary when this happens. I mean, it was a very scary experience for me. There is a lot of fear that you have of it coming back and recurring. You sort of get used to that, though. Not to like say that it, you know, that's maybe not the most comforting thing to hear, that you get used to being really afraid of death all the time. But, you know, it's sort of an interesting thing to get used to, though, because then you realize, you know, you can take positive things from that. Like, you realize that the possibility of death does exist, right? It's more present in your head. And so then you focus more on the good things. That's what you try to do, is try to focus on the positive things in life and not dwell on the worst case scenario. You know, you can sit back and you can say to yourself, you know, we're the lucky ones here. We're cancer survivors. You know, a lot of people aren't that fortunate. So in a lot of ways, it's a good thing. I had testicular cancer, and sometimes I say to myself that you know, it was a good experience, actually.
It was a good experience.
Yeah, like I think about it every day. I think it's changed my life, and sometimes I think I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Wow.
And then I think, actually, no, I'd trade it for my right testicle. Wouldn't mind getting that back. So,
Fortunately, you have a second, though, right?
Yeah, I have a second. Yeah, it's doing well. The second one's doing well. It's working perfectly, actually. Okay. Not that you asked. I didn't need to get into detail about how it's working, but it's functioning fine. Everything is fine.
Glad to hear it. So let me ask you both this, because I mean, you have survived something that, as you said, not everybody is blessed enough to survive. And we know one of the hard facts about life is that nobody gets out alive. There is that end at some point. But I heard you almost cry as you started to talk about planning and being able to move on with your life. What was behind that?
Well, it's just kind of
It's right there.
it's right there. It's always right there. You know, you kind of have to deal with it looming over you, and you're making plans, and you're meeting new people, and it's a balance to try to find. You know, it's to say, you know, do I tell everybody about this piece in me, or how do I bring that up in conversation, or just kind of dealing with it on a day-to-day. It's a struggle, and I mean, I feel like I handle it relatively well, but.
Do you? Is this well?
Well, no, I mean.
How long ago did you come out of this?
I've been in remission for 2 years now.
2 years, yeah. So that's very fresh, you know, and when I was just 2 years out, I felt, you know, my emotions were on the surface just like they are for you here today. And that goes away. That goes away, and that fades, and that becomes more of a distant thing, you know. And you just kind of got to like realize that it's going to get a lot better, and that you know. And I think another thing is you can actually be, you know, proud of the fact that you've beat cancer, and you know, there's not many people that can say that. So you can use that as something positive. Talk to other people who are going through it.
I definitely am proud of myself.
Christy, I want to chime in and say that I think you know, you're telling me a lot with your emotion, and I think you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. The fact that you're open, you're vulnerable, and you're connected. I mean, God, you've been through the unthinkable, and so to grieve and to feel some sadness and to some uncertainty, I wouldn't want to change that for anything. Most people, we'd have to pull into that, and you're there. It just feels incredibly uncomfortable a lot of the time, right? Yeah. And worrying is an interesting thing. You know, it's kind of like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but you're not really going to go anywhere. But to tell you the answer to your question, if it were me, is, you know, how do I overcome the fear of reoccurrence? You really just don't. I think instead of trying to overcome it, maybe you embrace it. Because when I deal with fear and I resist it, it gets bigger. To be able to connect with somebody like Tom, who can empathize with you because he's walked in your shoes and know where you've been, is probably the quickest way to feel more connected and relaxed and just realize you are where you are and you're here for a reason.
But also being able to stay present in the moment, because you can't let the past define you. Yes, that happened, but that was 2012. This is 2014, and God willing, you are looking towards your future. Tell me what the fear is now.
Well, on a day-to-day, it's, you know, you kind of deal with a lot when you're dating and you're in remission from cancer. And you're,
because why?
I'm probably infertile, so that's kind of a strange conversation to have with someone on, you know,
Almost
do you
as
bring
strange
that
as
up on
talking
date
about
3?
Tom's
Or
Yeah.
So just things like that, and I've had to really take a look at where my life was and make a lot of choices. I've changed to a vegan diet. I just started a new job. I kind of left my past career. So it's just kind of a matter of figuring out that it's okay to put myself and my health first, and it was never something I had thought of in the past. So it's definitely an adjustment.
But this is the thing, is that at a certain point, you have to get past going through an adjustment. I want you to wake up every day and say, what do I have today? What am I working with today? What does my future look like? And have faith that the person that is supposed to be there is not going to worry about fertility. They're going to be in the struggle with you if that's what you decide. It's not going to worry about, oh, on the first date, do I tell them about the cancer or not tell them about the cancer? It's allowing it to unfold and to living your life in the moment. Wouldn't you say so, Tom?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being scared, too. There's not, you know, it's, you just
We're
have
all
to.
scared. We all have things that aren't
There's
we
so
all
many
scared?
things that there's so many things that you can be scared about, and if you focus on them, you'll be scared about them. You know, we could, any one of us here in the audience could step out onto Hollywood Boulevard and get hit by a bus after the show, right? But
Amen.
you know, and probably one of you will actually.
It won't be me.
I mean, there's a lot of people here. Odds are one of you will probably get hit by a bus at some point in your life. But you're not going to sit and worry about that possibility. If you did, then you would be wasting all of this precious time that we do have here. So I think that's what it is, you know, you sort of really, I've said after I had cancer, I say life becomes sort of a mixture of gratitude and sheer panic. Because you now are really happy to be alive, but you're also really kind of afraid of the possibility of it reoccurring. So maybe a good sense of humor and learning to try to kind of you know, make light of it. That's something that I've done. You know, I do stand-up comedy, so I make jokes about it in my comedy show. So, you know, it's always good to try to just keep a positive attitude and just not focus on it.
That's right. Thank you so much, Tom. And we have to remember, all we have is right now. Yesterday is in the past. Tomorrow's not promised, but we do have right now. And I thank you so much, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay? We'll be right back after this. Coming up, do you remember the first time that you were depressed?
I would say about the time I was like 14 or 15, so, you know, I've always had it.
We love getting your questions, so we want you to keep them coming via Facebook, Twitter, and on our webpage. Who knows, we might just answer your question here in the studio audience next.